So there's a story about this man named Nathan. He's a Native American man living in Vegas. He had never smoked a cigarette in his life, but he started working at a casino, and 11 years has gone by, and he's starting to feel kind of sick all the time. So he goes to the doctors, and they say he's developed these severe allergies. So they're trying to pinpoint why, and then pretty much his lungs, like breathing is kind of hard for him, and breathing in the constant smoke in the casino eventually caused permanent lung damage to him just from breathing in the secondhand smoke, and it led to his early death at the age of 54. So today I'm going to talk about how secondhand smoke causes immediate harm to non-smokers who breathe it in. So first, I want to talk to you about how tobacco smoke hurts anyone who breathes it. There was this report done by Surgeon General Regina Benjamin, and she explains that when you breathe in secondhand smoke, platelets in your blood get sticky and they form clots. And normally when you get a cut, this happens, and it prevents you from breathing out. But when this happens inside of your body, that's when it gets dangerous. So the blood gets sticky, and then it can form clots that block blood flow to your brain, your heart, and even your legs. Secondhand smoke causes various diseases and issues in non-smokers. Some of the health conditions caused by secondhand smoke are coronary heart disease, strokes, and then even lung cancer. The same Surgeon General, she also writes that even spending time in a smoky room can trigger a heart attack. So smoke causes what's one cause of dangerous plaque buildup in the arteries. And so plaque is made up of cholesterol and scar tissue, and it narrows the arteries. And if they get narrow enough, when you're in a smoky room, if it's built up enough, it can give you chest pain, like chest weakness, a heart attack, and then could even be a sudden death if the arteries are narrow enough. So next I'll talk to you about how breathing in secondhand smoke can harm pregnant women and children. So in this article on a website called Secondhand Smoke and Pregnancy, it states that risks for pregnant women breathing in secondhand smoke include miscarriage, low birth weight, early birth, learning deficiencies in the child once they're born, and even SIDS after the child is born. For young children, secondhand smoke, like if they're babies, that could cause SIDS after they're born, ear infections, colds, pneumonia, bronchitis, and severe asthma, even for kids that didn't even have signs of asthma when they were born. It also slows the growth of children's lungs and then causes them to cough, wheeze, and feel breathless sometimes. Not allowing smoke in indoor spaces is the only way to completely prevent exposure to secondhand smoke, contrary to what a lot of people think. Smoke is absorbed into the walls and the furniture and the clothes and even kids' toys and other household surfaces within minutes to hours after it's exhaled. So it still lingers even though you don't really see it anymore. Then after the smoke is exhaled, the chemicals still linger from days, months, to even years still in the house or wherever it was. Airing out rooms doesn't always provide protection. So last, I'd like to talk to you about how secondhand smoke can cause cancer. According to an article on the National Cancer Institute website, tobacco smoke contains more than 7,000 chemicals, and then of the 7,000, 250 are harmful, but then of the 250, 70 cause cancer. In the same article, it says that secondhand smoke exposure contributes to about 41,000 deaths each year in non-smokers, which I thought was crazy high, and then even 400 deaths in infants each year. So in the previously mentioned report done by Surgeon General Regina Benjamin, she says that breathing in tobacco smoke when you already have cancer, whether you know about it or not, is especially dangerous. New research is showing that the tobacco smoke actually helps the tumors to grow, and it can even undo the benefits of chemotherapy that was previously done. So after listening to the various dangers of breathing in secondhand smoke, I hope that all of you will agree that it causes immediate harm to non-smokers who breathe it in.
All right, well, I like the story of Nathan as an opening. I think that that works pretty well. There's no source citation on that, so you want to make sure to do that. The proposition is reasonably clear. The question of the controversy, I think, needs to come up because I think that there's widespread acceptance that secondhand smoke can be dangerous. The question is how much exposure, where are you exposed, and what the level of risk is to any of those sorts of things. And in some places, it sounds like you're suggesting a minimum amount of exposure could be dangerous. So maybe that should be the way the proposition is phrased, so that it is dealing clearly with something that is controversial. Like I said, if you live with a smoker, or like in the case of Nathan, you work in an environment where there is smoking going on, I think most people recognize that that kind of exposure is going to produce a particular problem. There are a couple of places in the speech where there is information that's being presented that is kind of conclusionary. The Surgeon General that you cite several times in the speech sometimes cites a study, sometimes gives an explanation, but a lot of the information being presented there includes lists of supposed harmful consequences of secondhand smoke without explaining to us what the level of exposure has to be to get all of those kinds of things. There is one place where you say people who already have a problem could be triggered by even a brief exposure. That's the closest I think you get to the issue where there's controversy on what's going on here. Let me see. The structure of the speech is problematic. I could not pick out exactly what the supporting structure is, except in very general terms, it sounds like it's about particular harms. I think there's chronic heart disease and cancer, and then there were some other issues that came up. I don't know if those are supposed to be a third supporting point or if they fit into the more generic information that's being presented by the Surgeon General. So the structure, I think, needs to be clear, what the secondary claims are, so that we can see how these things are coming together more. Like I said, I did think that you did a nice job citing a source that has a high degree of credibility. I do think sometimes that information needs to be a bit more detailed. There's not really any statistical measurement in this level of risk. The 41,000 who die from secondhand smoke, that I don't know what that includes for sure. I assume, for instance, people who live with smokers or people like Nathan who work in an environment where smoking is allowed, that's a particular problem. The 400 infant deaths, again, that's I think a little bit problematic. You have at one point a claim that says smoking is absorbed into, the chemicals are all absorbed into the environment that's going on, even when somebody's not smoking, and so the chemicals are still there, and that could create an exposure risk. And that's something that I didn't hear any source citation on, and any evidence to support the claim that those represent a long-term risk. You said even airing out the room doesn't necessarily remove those sorts of things. I'm like, well, okay, so where's the proof that any of this has been a problem? So if somebody once smoked in my house, or if I went into a restaurant or a hotel room where somebody once smoked, you're saying that I'm in danger and I need to see something that suggests that that's a danger. I might find the smell noxious, but the question of how much risk there is, that's really problematic. And I think that that's where your argument is. That's really where the dispute is. Because like I said, I don't think anybody disputes that exposure to secondhand smoke, if it's constant, is problematic. Nathan is I like the example to explain what the consequence is. On the other hand, it undermines the notion that there's controversy on this, because I think that people know that, which is why we, in most places, have banned smoking any place public. That sign up there that says no smoking, I haven't had anybody smoke in the classroom ever since I've taught here. A couple of people tried to do vaping kinds of things. I said, you know what? I think that that's problematic. You should check into that, and they never did that again. So, I'm wondering where these people are getting all this exposure. They're walking down the street while somebody else is smoking on the street, and that's the harm. I'm having a hard time believing that your evidence proves any risk like that, and that's where the controversy needs to be. Okay, thank you.